First of all, thank you for all being here. Thank you for waiting and being at that hearing. Today, we were here at court for a hearing on the plaintiff's motion for final approval of the class settlement in the ongoing class action lawsuit against Johnson City. This motion is now pending before the court, and we're very pleased that the court has already indicated his intention to approve the class action settlement. We are extremely pleased that we were able to reach such a settlement for claims brought on behalf of a class of women reporters of sexual violence who reported their sexual assaults to the Johnson City Police Department during the relevant period. We brought this class action case almost 3 years ago now, and there's some symmetry here because about 2 years ago we held a press conference when we were in the midst of a hard-fought battle. And at that time, these women were able to speak to publicly for the very first time. It has been a long road to achieving justice here. And since this hearing marks one of the last court appearances in this case, we thought it would be a good time for some of these incredibly brave survivors who have been instrumental in pursuing this case to speak to you again. Being part of a complex lawsuit like this one is a remarkable achievement for anyone, but it is even more impressive given the sacrifices these women made. They faced their past trauma repeatedly as part of the litigation process. Rather than moving on with their lives, these women chose to stay with the pain of their assaults, and in the case of the Trent family, their incredible loss. They devoted themselves to the case, and they did so together out of a sense of purpose and common cause for the many women whose lives this case touched and who stand to benefit from the class settlement. Today, it is my privilege to honor them and to hear them speak publicly about what this case has meant to them. Justice can come in many forms. Justice can mean compensation. It can be a resource for survivors of abuse to help heal and move forward with their lives. We achieved that as part of the class settlement here with a $4.2 million settlement. Ms. Erickson will discuss what that amount represents going forward. Justice can mean reform, institutional changes to a system. We achieved that too. Johnson City has committed as part of the settlement to equitable relief, and Ms. Erickson will also explain what that means. Justice can also be found in the process of bringing a lawsuit to demand accountability and to seek the truth. I am so incredibly grateful to the women standing here today and to all our clients in this case because they made this process one that was imbued with justice. They supported each other and supported us. They believed in each other and believed in us. And because of that, this hard-fought and complex lawsuit became something empowering and something inspiring. It gave them a voice. It put them in a position of power and control when before that had been taken away from them. I am in awe of these women for what they achieved in this process together, and it's been the privilege of a lifetime to represent them. I also want to take a moment to introduce and recognize the team of attorneys that made this outstanding settlement possible. Heather Collins of HMC Civil Rights is a dynamite civil rights attorney who has been on the forefront of civil rights litigation in the state of Tennessee for decades. She brought a fierce determination to this case and impeccable instincts. I'm so grateful to her. Elizabeth Kramer, Julie Erickson, and Kevin Osborne are the founding partners of Echo Law, a boutique class action law firm that brings cases nationwide. They're one of the few firms in the country that has an expertise in bringing class action claims on behalf of survivors of sexual violence. They have taken on some of the thorniest and most novel legal issues and toughest battles in this case to help make this class settlement a reality today. I'm so grateful to them. I'm going to turn over to Heather and Julie, who will share additional comments, and then some of the survivors will speak. We will not be taking questions today. Thank you.
Good afternoon. This case exemplifies everything the civil justice system is supposed to be and do. Here, some very brave women came forward who did not have a voice. This case gave them a voice, and at the end of the day, city leaders heard them, and they've made substantial changes that will benefit all the citizens in this area. The civil justice system did what the criminal justice system could not and did not do. As a native Tennessean, I'm particularly proud of this work that we have done here for our clients and for this community. This is what change looks like. This case is a masterclass in perseverance, but it's also just what Tennesseans do. We come together and we do what we've always done. We show leadership and we set an example. We set a nationwide example here. Some brave citizens spoke up about injustice, and its government listened. The government stepped up, and they set a good example to right some very serious wrongs. And I hope our state takes notice of what real bravery looks like and remembers what the volunteer spirit is. Thank you.
Good afternoon. This case began when a few brave women stood up to tell their stories of abuse. Some of these women were assaulted by Sean Williams. Others were survivors of other sexual predators. Their acts of courage resulted in the lawsuit and the settlement we are here to discuss today. In many instances, a lawsuit ends with vague promises of change that turn out to be empty. But this settlement, which the court today called an incredible resolution, represents a meaningful acknowledgement by Johnson City. It puts real money in people's pockets and ensures real policies to prevent discrimination. Because this settlement was reached through a class action, there will be checks going to settlement class members automatically. There's no invasive, burdensome, re-traumatizing process. Instead, survivors can maintain their privacy and still have their experience acknowledged, a result that is impossible if someone had to bring a lawsuit on their own. This money is not something that can undo the harm of the class member sexual assault. This money does not rectify the dignitary harm of the discriminatory practices, but it is a showing of the seriousness of the allegations and a demonstration that this type of discrimination, which the legal system has historically failed to ascribe any monetary value, is actually worth money. Johnson City has also implemented important changes to its practices that will ensure respect is given to women who come forward after suffering sexual abuse. We, as the representatives of those who report the abuse, will have visibility into the implementation of these policies for years. This oversight ensures a level of transparency that could not have been achieved any other way and creates additional and direct accountability to the citizens of Johnson City. This has been an incredibly hard-fought litigation. It's easy to see that from the more than 500 court filings made before the parties even started settlement discussions. And that's a good reminder of the path toward meaningful resolution. It doesn't come easy, and you don't get everything you want. The city came to the table in good faith and with real money and commitment to change. We believe the city worked with us to reach this important outcome because they, like us and like our clients, want to move forward and heal their community.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bree. I'm here today as a class member and as someone who has participated in this lawsuit for almost 4 years now. When this case first began, I had my doubts and was afraid that justice would never come for me or any of the other survivors involved. But despite the fear, I chose to see it through to completion. What kept me going was the big picture. Sadly, men and women experience sexual assault all over the world. And I'm proud to stand alongside these women and show other survivors that there is no shame in coming forward and seeking justice for yourself. And for those who felt they must stay silent, we stand with you too. I'm proud of what we've accomplished here, and I hope this has a lasting positive impact on the community that my daughter will grow up in and make it a better and safer place. I also hope that this case will send a message that has a ripple effect for other communities in the future. And finally, I just want to thank my attorneys and the other women. Without their tireless efforts, none of this would be possible. Thank you.
How do I spell Bri? I'm sorry.
Oh, B-R-I.
Good afternoon. So the last time that we spoke publicly, it was under different circumstances. However, some are still the same. What is different is that many of the victims here have found justice for the atrocities that wreaked havoc on our lives. Something which is still the same is that many women still to this day do not feel safe to report when they have been the victim of sexual violence. There is still so much work to be done here, but I hope that by our pursuit and exposure, that more women will feel empowered to come forward when they have been assaulted. We are a society that needs to continue having these difficult conversations about rape culture and victim blaming. But this is just another example of where strong voices can be powerful, and hope that others find the strength to keep the fight going forward. I also want to thank the incredible team of lawyers who fought diligently for us throughout this process, and for the other women, some of whom are with us here today, for their tenacity, their grit, their bravery and strength in standing up and advocating not just for themselves, but for countless other survivors. Today is not the end of the fight for justice in regards to stopping violent crimes against women, but this closing out of this chapter is necessary in order for us to start a new one. Myself and others will continue to do this work in advocating for the end of sexual violence in our communities, in our culture, and in our lives, and I look forward to continue that work that lies ahead on this righteous pursuit for justice. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Keely, and I am a survivor of Sean Williams and a member of the reporter class. Though the process of attaining justice has been long and sometimes overwhelming, it is with great joy and satisfaction that today we stand here in victory. When I first began this process of seeking justice for the crimes committed against me, I was in a much different condition than what you see today. Fractured, defeated, and terribly wounded, I sought healing and restoration through the pursuit of accountability. A society which does not protect its women and children is a society which is suffering from illness. It brings me great hope and quiet certainty that this is just the beginning of justice. I would just like to thank everybody who's been participating in this case and all of the hard work that our lawyers have done. I've never been so recognized, and I really appreciate it. Thank you all so much for listening.
How do I spell your name?
Hello, my name's Sierra. This case has shaped me into the woman I am today. When I felt as if I had no voice, Vanessa and her team stood by the survivors and myself. Each and every single one of us are so grateful to have had a legal team that amplified our voices for all to hear. I hope this can inspire anyone watching to use your voice so it can be amplified too. Over the months and months this case has continued, I have never lost hope. That is due to the people standing next to me today. They have become my family. You have all made me feel safe, seen, and heard.
My name is Cheney, and I wanted to step up here to speak today, not only for myself, but also for those that are not able to do so. As a woman that has been assaulted in her life, I know the pain it is to feel unheard or not believed. I know the pain it is to be scared to stand up for yourself. It is a pain that I wish none of us felt. 1 in 2 women have experienced some form of sexual violence within their lifetime. Only a fraction of those assaults are reported, with estimates being about 25%. Knowing these statistics, it is easy to understand why we, the victims, believed we would not be hurt. It is easy to understand why we believed there was no reason to stand up for justice. From the time I was assaulted, I believed I would not be seen or heard or understood. But I was wrong. That all changed when I met Laura Trent's mother. She was able to get me in touch with our wonderful lawyer, Vanessa. Vanessa wholeheartedly believed my stories, and more importantly, all of the victims' stories. Not only Laura's mom and Vanessa, but all of the other lawyers on this case, the judge, the other victims, and so many more. It is such a relief to have met such amazing people that support and fight for me, that fight for all of the victims in this case, and of most importance, fight for justice. That leads me to my main point. You are not alone. There are people that will stand by you and believe you. With that, you can stand up for yourself. There is power in unity, and I know that you have support. I want every victim of sexual assault to know that. And I know that the people I have met throughout this journey have supported me from day one. I want to thank all of you so much for believing and understanding our stories. No matter the circumstances, what you're wearing, doing, or who you are around, there is no excuse for anyone taking someone's dignity from them. Thank you.
My name is Sarah, and I'm Laura Shea's sister. I appreciate the opportunity to speak today. A great tragedy brought all of us together. Our family pursued this case with a future in mind for daughters and sisters who deserve systems that respond before harm becomes permanent. Today, I am hopeful not because of what happened can be undone, but because the truth was finally examined. When my family and I began this journey more than 4 years ago, we felt very overwhelmed and uncertain. We did not know whether Laura's story would ever be fully considered, but after going through this lawsuit, I know it has been. This case exists because women stepped into a space Laura was denied. That carries responsibility and consequences. It has been a very humbling to witness the magnitude of that resolve. Standing with these women today, I want to be clear. What was brought forward mattered. The decision to come forward has lasting significance, whether it was recognized immediately or not. There is power in what we did because we followed through and refused to let silence be the final word. We respect the role of the courts and the importance of this legal process. But as a family, we also believe that earthly outcomes are not the final measure of truth or responsibility. What happened to Laura carries a weight no ruling can fully capture. We trust that God sees what was known, what was ignored, and what cannot be undone. That belief does not replace accountability here. It reminds us that some judgments can never be delayed or avoided. I want to acknowledge the team of attorneys who pursued this case with discipline and persistence. Thank you so very much. And I want to acknowledge the court and the resources that were brought to bear in this case. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Good afternoon. My name is Anya. I was graciously given the opportunity today to speak publicly on what seeking justice in this case has meant to me personally as one of Sean's many victims.
However, I don't want to start off today giving that monster all the airtime. I would rather start today on a note of gratitude. I'm grateful for the individuals you see standing here with me, and many others currently not present. Individuals whom, without their trust, support, compassion, and drive, I would not be standing in front of you today. I would especially like to thank Kimberly Trent, Vanessa Bear-Jones, and the team of attorneys here. You have truly all been a godsend. Without you being willing to hear our stories, I fear we, the victims of these horrendous events, would have never been given a voice loud enough to be heard over the background noise. I truly can't express the gratitude I will hold in my heart for each and every one of you. I would also like to thank the judge presiding over this case for your due diligence in helping us seek justice in this matter. I was given date rape drugs by Sean Williams without my consent at a party in his apartment in the fall of 2019. Afterwards, Williams coerced me into silence using the many tactics employed by those hiding behind the societal shortcomings of rape culture. 1 in 3 or fewer sexual assault cases are disclosed to law enforcement. Some estimates say up to 80% of cases are never reported. Victim blaming, public shaming, the fear of not being believed or helped can lead victims to underreport and keep their assaults to themselves. Some victims are also led to believe that what happened to them isn't serious enough to report. These statistics and examples are just a small look into rape culture, a culture that perpetuates itself when predators are not held accountable and victims are not believed and ostracized. This is a core societal issue that we must all be responsible for abolishing. In the beginning of this journey, after first contacting Vanessa, I was scared. Scared that I was going to be shunned again. Scared that people yet again weren't going to believe the things that had happened to me that night. Scared of more threats of physical violence, but mostly scared that we would all have to go through reliving this nightmare for nothing. That fear didn't last long, though. Meeting with Vanessa and the other victims at the press conference in Knoxville really changed something for me. After leaving that room, spending time healing together that day, I knew I was going to leave with something I didn't have walking in there. For the first time, I knew that I was not alone. We had just been made to feel that way by an evil stigma in our society. I don't want myself or any other victim to ever have to feel that way again. It is truly one of the darkest places that you can be. I will continue to use my voice to speak for those who may not be willing or no longer can. I will do what is in my power to make sure no victim of any form of abuse has to feel alone and plead with others to do the same. There's an immense sense of relief now that this case is starting to finally see the light of day. It truly has to be one of the most disturbing series of events in my lifetime. Seeing the initial public outrage has been encouraging, but please do not let this go back in the dark. Keep asking questions. Keep advocating for the victims. Keep Laura Shea Trent's name alive. And please, don't ever let anything like this happen here again. Thank you.
Thank you for being here and for being witnesses to all of this and for following this case for so many years. And that's all that we have today.